So what is since we're on that topic, what is good fish then? Is there such thing as good fish and bad fish?
All fish is great. Fish is fish.
Okay.
Preferably if humans could harm less fish, it would be great.
Okay.
Okay. Have you watched that wonderful documentary on the Netflix about the fishing industry and how just to catch one particular fish, there's so many other fish also. It's called like byproduct or something like that. That by fishing or something, sharks and other
things get stuck in the net, right?
Destroyed, right? Yes, and it just like it's ruining the food pyramid and the entire ecosystem and the biome of the ocean, because the sharks and all, they were supposed to eat the fish, which is sort of, to participate in natural selection, so that the more stronger breed survive with the fish, and it's all evolution.
Like the small fish take the plankton, and then the bigger ones would eat the smaller fish.
And they saw less sharks, and they just it's horrible stuff, horrible.
It's scary, but then if that's the case.
Coming back to the fish, definitely, and the same, by the way, goes with beef and then the chicken and all. It's what the animal is fed with, what they consume. That's why, like, is it the grass-fed or the grain-fed beef? Hence, if you read online some articles about the natural testosterone boosters, that's another thing which apologies, but I just totally don't buy it, and these testosterone boosters and all of that stuff. I didn't include that.
Yeah, I noticed.
But it was their number 6. It was knocking in the door, and it was like all the time popping up on my computer. And where are the testosterone boosters? Why are you not mentioning us in the most useless and overrated? Well, it's just never mind. Because they're not 100% inclusive and universal.
Because females can't use them.
Well, not to say can't use, but they're not the priority for females.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. You don't want to grow fish like and an Adam's apple.
Well, but still, you gotta understand that you will never ever boost anything beyond abnormal levels, beyond what you can, beyond your genetic potential. It's just not possible. You can, unless there is some kind of a biological process of conversion of one substance into another, and there is an enzyme that can be blocked, and you are taking some substance that is blocking that enzyme, or just you're taking some substance that disrupts that conversion, that is possible. So you can increase the amount of the precursor, and sort of deplete the amount of the end metabolite. That is possible, and that happens. Okay. But generally, if you try to naturally stimulate something, you gotta pray that you at least have some effect, that you are stimulating something good at all. So it's not just a placebo or a useless effort or useless attempt. Because another thing is that very often people forget is that if, say, they have a specific problem, for instance, a hair loss, or let's just go into half of the population, like erectile dysfunction, for instance. And people might think that there is one solution for that. And my erectile dysfunction happens because of this. So I'm gonna fix this because I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna fix it. No, it doesn't work that way. Most of the things in our body are so interconnected. So it all starts with like in erectile function. It all starts with the thought, right? So there's an arousal, there's a specific area in the brain that is activated, and that area, it has a specific central mechanism, and there are central molecules, central neurotransmitters that will participate in the
physical act of it.
Not the physical act, in the initiation of the process, and then it will send the message down as a, but still it is confined to the nervous system.
With an impulse?
Something like that, right?
Okay.
Because there's in the spine, also in the lumbar area of the spine, there's another center that is sort of responsible more for the mechanistical, the mechanics of that, right? Because the erection itself is just purely a very mechanistical, it's a conversion of the neurological impulse conversion onto the muscle, its effect on the smooth muscle, that will cause a specific anatomical changes, and that will further convert into the other anatomical mechanistical changes, like the suppression, compression of the venous plexus that will prevent the outflow.
So it goes one way. Okay.
Right. So can you imagine? It starts as a neurophysiological reaction. Continues as a neurophysiological reaction, converts into the neuromuscular, but not the skeletal muscle, the smooth muscles, the muscles that control the blood vessels, they promote the relaxation. And there's a lot of compounds taking part in that. The nitric oxide and the L-arginine and even the L-citruline in a way. Even more than L-arginine that I was talking about, and also included in these compounds, right? So, and then it ends up with a specific anatomical phenomenon, So, and there's so many different components involved. However, we did not even mention the readiness where the body, the whole organism should be ready, predisposed to do that, and the tissues which are participating in that process, in the entire mechanism, they should be in a proper condition to perform that. And to do that in the long run, of course, it's a hormonal profile. And here is what most of the people will think, it's just about my testosterone. Well, it is not. Yeah. It is not only about your testosterone, because the libido, the whole arousal and the interest towards sex, and the motivation and all, it comes from the combination, the ratio of the hormones in males and females, and it's different, of course. But the estrogen is also very, very much needed in a specific ratio to testosterone, and there's a ratio that you can assess and calculate.
Okay.
What is the moral of this story?
Good question.
Now, the moral of the story is that even if people might think that it's a DIY, because the lab will give you the reference range.
So they try to just make it.
Right, so they will just look, is it all in a normal font, or it's in a bold font, or it's been highlighted into yellow, or is it red? Is anything red in my blood report? Is my blood work anything red? That would be the mentality. But things that they will not take into consideration are that not all labs are given, and not in all countries you will get the proper reference range, and there are scenarios when reference range and your actual reading has to be adjusted based on the gender, based on the race, or based on the age, or based on the other underlying conditions. That's one factor. Another factor is that quite often the reference range itself is a bit off. Okay. And we have examples when reference ranges have been consistently amended significantly throughout the generations. Okay. And one of the workshops and one of the courses that we were talking about when during the course of the hormonal restoration, hormonal optimization, and the ED therapies and all, we were talking about that generational adjustment of the so-called normal range of the total and free testosterone that happened throughout the decades, throughout the 20th century. And it is well documented, it's published in different countries. And there's been the cohort generational analysis of certain parameters done. And although there are trends or shifts in that reference range being observed throughout the time, it does not mean that we should just accept it as it is. Okay? I think that instead of an acceptance, there has to be a proper analysis and do something to prevent those shifts from happening. What I mean, for instance, adjustment of the normal testosterone level in males of different age, which a few decades ago definitely was different, and it's been brought lower and lower and lower and lower.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, yes, but on a general scale, the average level of the testosterone in the male population is getting lower and lower and lower. That's why, hence the acceptance of that. Well, it should not be accepted in that way because there is a reason. It's not a norm, it's a pathology. Okay? And that phenomenon is happening due to some reasons. There are drivers for that. And those drivers are the environment, lifestyle, and food. Food which is high in estrogenic activity, estrogenic properties. Okay? It's a food that's based on soy and all that kind of products, pro-estrogenic food. It's also is the processed food. It's a food with a lot of sugar. It's a food that is depleted in the zinc and in magnesium. Zinc very important because it, apart from the immune system, it participates in the mechanism, the synthesis of the testosterone. So that's why it is included in the testosterone boosters also.
Okay.